Have you guys made a decision yet?
I don't even know who this guy is. He just looked so comfortable, I wanted to try it out.
The Mattress Gallery at Crandall's Home Furnishings. The brands you're looking for at the price you want. In memory foam, pillow top, and more. Crandall's Home Furnishings. Always home to the ultimate value.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, Jim, Fort Campbell, Owensboro Catholic, it's become a real tradition-bound rivalry. Russell Hayden told me the week before, we never have any trouble focusing on the Fort Campbell game. They're probably thinking about that game the minute the season schedule comes out. This one was really going to determine so many things, because I think having that number one seed in this district is huge, really huge.
Absolutely.
So Catholic goes down to Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell coming off a very impressive win over Hancock County. Thought it would really be a headbanger type game. Catholic wins 34 to nothing. Held Fort Campbell scoreless. How do you even figure that happened?
Well, before we do that, I'll just say this. I was wrong in this one, because I did the capsules leading into Friday's game, and I picked Fort Campbell to win this game in a tight one, I think by 3. Never have I been more wrong, and never have I been more glad that I was wrong, because this was a total annihilation. Owensboro Catholic dominated this game from start to finish and would not let Fort Campbell do anything, Scott. And I'll tell you something, this makes Owensboro Catholic a state championship contender in my mind.
I agree.
Okay, because you don't just go to Fort Campbell. It had been years and years since they had been shut out. They had a big streak against Class 2A teams. Catholic wiped all that off the board with a 34-0 victory, arguably one of the most impressive 3 or 4 victories in school history.
Isaac Hardesty throws for 200 yards, 17 or 23. That's a very high percentage.
Yep.
Russell Hayden runs for 189 yards. Breland Dixon catches the 3 touchdowns. When you can pass it and you can run it,
Yep.
you're going to be tough to stop. I don't care how far into the postseason you are.
Yep. And when you can stop a team like Fort Campbell, like Catholic did, that's what, to me, along with these weapons, which are many, we've talked about them all year, but this defense from week 1 to week 9 or 10 or wherever we're at officially, this defense has come further than any defense in our area.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. They are a strong unit now. They shut out Fort Campbell. That just doesn't happen. They did it on Fort Campbell's home turf. Couldn't be more impressed with that.
I think from day one of this season to today, no team period has improved more than Owensboro Catholic.
No.
Owensboro Catholic looks better every week, and I don't think there's another team in our area that can say that, that they've looked better every week.
No, I would venture to say they're probably the most improved team in Western Kentucky if you took the whole gamut, all classes. I mean, Catholic has been just unbelievably strong all year. They had one hiccup against Owensboro, that's it, and otherwise they've been phenomenal.
Right. All right, well, let's take look at a clip from our other 2A matchup this past weekend, and that was Todd County Central going into Hawesville to play the Hancock County Hornets. Now, Todd was coming off a big loss to Catholic, and we had already talked about how Hancock was coming off a big loss to Fort Campbell. So these were two teams that were definitely looking to find their way back into the win column, and Hancock just had way too many weapons for Todd County. Ends up being 58-0 Hancock County. And maybe did the margin surprise you a little bit?
Nah, not really.
You thought it would be this bad?
The reason I'm telling you, Todd caught Hancock at a really bad time. I mean, Hancock was smarting from back-to-back defeats. They were very upset about losing to Catholic, a game they were in and could have won possibly. And then I think they were disappointed in their performance against Fort Campbell. And I think that Todd just caught a team that was really revved up, ready to go back on the field and prove that they're a much better team than they showed the last couple of weeks.
Chance Hamilton, 138 yards on 6 carries. Dylan Hubbard, 125 yards on 9 carries. Important to note that Dylan went over 1,000 yards rushing on the season, which is all the more impressive when you consider how many options Hancock County has. I mean, 9 carries is about his average per game.
Yeah,
Dylan Hubbard's averaging right around 10 yards, if not more, carry.
Yeah, he's been outstanding for them.
Very outstanding. Matt Rabb, 3 completions. When you get 166 yards on 3 completions, you're finding some holes in the other team's defense there.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just, it was just a case, I think, where one team just had too many weapons.
Yep.
But then also give the defense credit, because I saw this Todd County team against Owensboro Catholic the previous week, and while Catholic handled them without question, they have a few players. I mean, they have a few weapons. To hold them to 34 yards of offense is a really nice achievement, and Hancock's going to need that kind of defense.
Yeah, they are, and I think that this was a really good game, even though it was lopsided and everything. I tell you, this was an important game for Hancock County to come out focused. I mean, they probably knew that they were going to beat Todd County no matter what, but they didn't just beat them. They really destroyed them here and just would not let the Rebels get off the snide at all. I mean, 34 yards is very little offense in an entire football game. And I think Hancock is just kind of gearing up and trying to get reestablished here for the postseason, and they may. I mean, I think that they're still a threat.
Well, I tell you what, I think Hancock, no matter what happens from here on out, you got to rate this season a success. And the reason I say that you got to rate it a success is I think some people, from what I understand, have kind of been down on them because, 2 weeks ago they thought they had a real shot at winning a district championship. Mm-hmm. And I think some people view it as a pretty good disappointment now that they're on the road, first round of the playoffs. They finished number 3 in district. But it has to be, you have to take into consideration the 2 teams you finished behind. One, Owensboro Catholic, I honestly believe might be a state championship contender. And the other, Fort Campbell, while they're not what they've probably been the last 3 years, they are still an extremely good team. So it's not like you finished behind some bad teams and you just really fell apart at the end.
No, I don't buy that argument. I think it's been a really good season for Hancock County. I'll give you a comparison. There's that 5A district involving Bowling Green, Warren Central, and Grayson County. Right. Grayson County's had a terrific season. Right. They're going to finish 3rd in that district. They're going to be on the road to Owensboro in the first round of the playoffs. And now you can't look at Grayson County season and say it's been bad. It's been good, just like it was last year. So I view Hancock's season the same way. I think they've had a really good season.
Absolutely. Last game to talk about briefly would be the Union County-McLean County matchup. Union County's a top 10 team in 3A. Yeah. This was a game going in. You felt like, the Cougars, I guess if they scored 2 touchdowns, you'd have been pretty impressed. They don't. They get shut out.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else we can say about it. McLean County at this point.
No, the only thing you can say is they're in a very difficult district. When you're down in that district, you're in trouble, and that's what's happened with McLean this year. And they have a game this coming week that could be more competitive maybe than we think. It's against Ohio County, and we'll just see how that goes. It'll be certainly more competitive than this Union County game was. The Braves have too many weapons. They're a team that could get hot and go deep into the postseason.
We're going to talk much more about postseason games coming up in the next week, this Thursday show and then next week. Is it the Grayson-Owensboro game that you see as being the most intriguing of all the opening round games?
Grayson and Owensboro, and I think Hancock County's first game. I believe we talked about that. I think it's at Caldwell County. Yeah. I think those 2 are the most intriguing, but just as far as competitive. Right. Hard to pick. There's some pros and cons both ways there. But yeah, the Owensboro-Grayson County game is a rematch of last year. I think Owensboro was a little stronger last year. I think Grayson County may be a little stronger this year than they were last year, even though they were very good. So I think that matchup has evened up a little bit. And also with the questions at quarterback for Owensboro, that still remains a shaky situation there because now you're going to face a team that's a very good defensive team. They're not going to allow you to do certain things you want to do, and you may be using your 2nd or 3rd string quarterback trying to do them. So yeah, I think that's very intriguing. No question about it. That's an intriguing game.
Well, we've got a week and a half to talk about those games, but before we get to those, we've got one last regular season week coming up this Friday. Some interesting matchups in it. They don't have playoff implications, but how you perform this Friday could have a lot of bearing on your mindset going into the playoffs and how you perform in the playoffs. Yeah,
that's what I said about this past week. I think this past week and this coming week are big as far as momentum. You want to start, like Hancock got back on track. You want to keep going now and really be feeling good about yourselves going into the postseason. Yeah.
Well, we will talk about everything coming up this Friday on our show at 2 o'clock Thursday, and then you can always watch the shows on demand at www.messenger-inquirer.com. So until Thursday, thank you for watching.